people do often believe in an afterlife as well, far more often than they say that they subscribe to a given religion. And so what we're seeing is that spiritual ideas are remaining like a golden thread, perhaps, within society, but their religious parents, the religious antecedents of these spiritual ideas are crumbling around us. Okay, so what does the French sociologist Daniel Hervier-Lugier have to say? Many more than any other people, Europeans are moving away from the model of the practicing believer. They most closely follow the pattern of two descriptive models: the pilgrim, who follows an individual path involving a series of phases, and the convert, who chooses the religious family to which he belongs. So you can see quite strongly in this quote the discussion which we've been having so far. And what does this mean for the nature of belief, i.e., what spiritualism is now, in the here and now, in the European context? Well, what this means is that when people start to talk about God and the supernatural, they no longer speak of it in the same way that people did in the context of Europe when there only was one religion. So we discussed in the previous lecture how in medieval Christendom, there was no choice of religions. Religion was the science of its day. In fact, it's almost impossible without some extreme mental hard work for us as modern people to understand what it was like back then. You have to start using analogies. So, for example, if you think back to COVID-19 and the pandemic, the epidemiologists and the scientists, the people coming up with the vaccines and the people telling us to stay at home for our own good, those people, if you start viewing them as some sort of clergy, they are the new priesthood. That's kind of accessing the way that people viewed it before. So just as the person who creates the vaccine saved our lives, so too in a medieval context, did the priest who was administering the Eucharist, which is the body and the blood of Christ, the bread and wine that you see in Christian church services, so too were they saving people's lives in a very, very tangible way, such as we would imagine vaccines to be saving the lives of our grandparents from COVID-19, for example. So what does Dominika Motak have to say again? The effect of the double exclusion of God, his confinement to metaphysics and to the inner man, makes for a God completely different from his pre-modern namesake. Just as nature constructed in laboratory differs from previous physics, such a reflective religiosity opposes the reification of its object, thus preventing it from being objectivized. So yeah, entirely agreeing with this point that we're discussing at the moment. People no longer have that kind of religious belief in the same way that they do. Religion is no longer the same thing in a Western European context than which it used to be. So what is replacing it now? It is a new God. It is a kind of new religion. It is private. We may call it spirituality.